I'm back. Sorry for the delay. It's been a while since I made a video. I think it's been 2 months now at this point. Background's not permanent. This isn't even my room. This is Special Scott's room. He has this hanging up for some odd reason, but I figured it'd be pretty cool to record in front of. And again, sorry for the delay. Just got caught up in schoolwork. But none of that is important. What is important is what I got in the mail yesterday. And as you can tell by the title, it's the Maverik lock. So this is the box that I believe all Maverik athletes get, and the promoters who get the gear earlier than when it's supposed to be released. So I got this box sent to me from Maverik and from Billy Bitter. Huge thanks to those guys over there. They definitely hooked me up with this. I figured I'd just do a quick unboxing of what I got. So here is the front. It says lock logo, lock logo. Open the front of the box. It says win the ball, change the game. Open it up. It's got this really cool design going on the inside. Right here across the top it says for the Faceoff specialist, and then down here it says flex rail, consistent flex. Okay. And then within the box, if I can keep the freaking lid open, I got the head, of course, and I got a little letter that says Blake, you suck. Real funny. It's pretty much a thank you letter on the front, and then on the back it has a few reference points as far as the certain qualities and characteristics the head has. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Let's just start with how the head comes out of the box. It's got this cool little tag on it. It has this really cool looking little chart of all the Maverik heads they have. Just pretty cool aesthetics there, nothing special. Let's talk about the head. Here's the face shape. I'm sure everybody's already seen pictures of this by now. Really interesting sidewall design. At first, when I first saw the pictures, I wasn't too sure about this strut being here. The head is symmetrical, so it's got the same sidewall designs on each side. It's got plenty of stringing holes, so you're not gonna have any problem stringing. Short throat. The angle isn't that bad. It's kind of going on the angle that we want, but it's not going this way. So that's a win. That's definitely a good thing to have. It also has 3 screw holes, just one on the back and then one on each side. And there's not one under the logo. You can tell by looking up in there. The head feels pretty light. The one thing I did notice, it's pretty stiff. When I squeeze with my hand, you can kind of feel where the stiffness is in the head, and it's really stiff down here. It's a little bit more flexible up towards the top of the head, but it's definitely super strong down here. And this doesn't really matter how it feels now. It'll matter once it breaks in. The sidewalls seem pretty thin along the back side. It seems just as thin as the CEO2. So that's always a good thing to have thin sidewalls. The scoop looks pretty good. There's nothing really special about it. Maybe just the fact that it's recessed back here, but just a normal scoop. So in this letter, it says that this plastic is being named Duraflex. And to be more specific, it says material provides consistency, returning the head back to optimal face-off form. So it's pretty much saying it's gonna snap back to its original shape after each face-off. Every head I've used has done that to a certain point, and then it starts to kink, and then it just stops doing that. We're gonna find out how well this head does that. I'm not sure if this is being marketed as a face-off stay-on head. One, because it's symmetrical on both sides, but the fact that the plastic does snap back in place, or it claims to, it might be a good face-off stay-on option. But again, we're just gonna have to break it in and find that out for ourselves. All right, so that's enough of my talking. You guys have seen the head, you've seen the unboxing of it. My first impressions is it's a really good looking head. I hope it performs well. It seems pretty stiff down here towards the lower third of the head, and this strut might be an issue. It might not, depending on my style, your style. And one thing that did catch my eye is it seems like it's going to kink right here for some reason, right where this sidewall kind of just cuts across. I feel like right there, that's where it's gonna like fold over. If it doesn't fold over there, then it's folding somewhere in this gap area. I'm gonna go string this thing up real quick. I'm gonna show you guys how it looks. After I get done doing that, I'm gonna put it on a shaft to see if the plastic snaps back. And then lastly, I'll break it in, and I'll probably take 100 something reps until this thing really gets mangled, so I can give you an honest review on how this thing is finally broken in. So yeah, let's do it. All right, so here she is all strung up with the classic outside knots. I will be doing a stringing tutorial on this head later on down the road. If I end up liking this pocket, this was just thrown in there pretty quick. Pretty excited to see how it performs. So let's go ahead and start the break-in process. And one last thing before I forget, the plastic does snap back decently well. That might be a little problem right there. Definitely not like a string kink head. I mean, that's after just doing this 4 times now. Sorry, starting to bend a bit. If you just pull it just a little bit over, it goes back no problem. So just figured I'd show you guys that real quick before I completely forget. Let's go ahead and break it in. All right, first few reps with the Maverik lock. See how she does. Alrighty, quick update on this. I just took 10 reps with the Maverik lock, which is nice and easy, slow reps. And from the side, looks pretty good, but the face, man, this left side is really starting to kink already. But it feels really nice. It's got a nice flex to it. I don't mind the warping so far, but I mean, with only 10 reps in, it might be a long day for the lock. We'll see.
The next day.
Alrighty, this is what it looks like after countless reps. No softball in it. I did nothing to move it back to its original position. This is just how it looks right after doing a lot of face-offs. Here's one thing I noticed with this head. It doesn't want to face flex. See how these two sidewalls come in? Face flex means these two go outside the plastic. So if you're getting jammed up, the inside of the head's gonna turn like this, which is pretty good, I guess. Some guys actually like this. There's no way you're losing the clamp here. You still have all the ball in the back, down on the throat. But if you're expecting a face flex out of this head, you're not gonna get it. You're just gonna get this kind of pinch to it. So let's talk about this whole folding thing that the Maverik lock does with these two sidewalls pinching in. If you have a pretty long face off and your head ends up being pinched like this, it's gonna stay pretty narrow. I mean, that's just 3 fingers right there. The back stays wide, which is nice, but the inside caves in like this. A lot of people found the same thing that happened to their Dual 2. So again, if you like this feature, this is gonna be huge for you, but if you don't, it's gonna be a nightmare. You can just see the size difference in the front compared to back here on both sides. Yeah, much more narrow in the front. All right, I'm back inside. The break-in process is officially done. Sorry it was kind of quick. I didn't feel the need to record all the reps I took with it. It kind of got boring after the first video I did with the Warrior Burn. So I just did the first 10 reps with it brand new. And then towards the very end of the break-in process, when I felt like it was finally broken in, I went ahead and recorded just a few more reps with it just to show you guys how it flexes when it's brand new versus when it's broken in. All right, so let's go ahead and just get right into my final thoughts on the Maverik lock. First, it does not face flex. I went over that plenty of times in this video. It does flex forward like that, where the sidewalls go in, and it peels over like this. In my eyes, that's not a face flex. That's just a head that peels forward. Any non-face-off specific head can do this. Literally any head. The Nike Lakota did the same exact thing. This is a face flex. See how these two front sidewalls go outside of the back two? Back here, right? You can see it. Boom. Okay. That's a face flex. Maverik lock does the exact opposite. It still folds forward, but does the exact opposite. Not a face flex. Next thing to talk about, Faceoff ability. Probably not your best head for face-off stay on. One, because of how pinched it gets. When I was using it, it felt like it pinched just as fast as the Dual 2 did. If any of you guys have used the Dual 2 before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This side kinks really, really fast. I mean, you saw it earlier when I was just pulling it in my hand. It started developing this kink immediately. So I knew that was gonna be an issue right out of the gates, but I didn't think it would get this serious. Here's a ball. Okay, it doesn't even go in there. You have to catch it up here towards the shooters to have it roll down in. Yep. That is definitely not legal. And there's no way you're making a pass and catch with this head when it's pinched like this. So is it a good face-off stay-on option? Absolutely not. I would say it's the same as the Dual 2. You might be able to use it. Yours might not pinch like mine did. The plastic does snap back still. Has that nice springy feature to it. But the problem is it's already creased and there's just no way it's gonna go back to being wide. It's not gonna work. So that being said, if this plastic didn't pinch as fast as it did, I think this would be a great face-off stay-on option, but the fact that it does this super, super, super fast, I wouldn't recommend this for field play at all. But this head did score 1 point in a certain category that would make this a good face-off stay-on head, and that is a scoop. This thing is ridiculous. I mean, look how mangled this head is. It still sucks out ground balls like it's nothing. It's ridiculous. This is a top-notch scoop. I would definitely put this up there with the String King Mark II F scoop. It's that good. Next up is the throat. We all know it was a short throat, but people want to see how short of a throat it actually was. So I have a few Faceoff specific heads behind me. I'm gonna go ahead and put those next to each other and line them up ball stop to ball stop, and then I can show you guys how far down this throat actually is in comparison to those. So let's do that right now. The Warrior Burn, tiny bit shorter. East Coast Eyes Weapon X, a little bit longer. String King Mark II F, it's maybe a hair longer. And then of course the Dual 2, which is the same throat as the CEO 2, maybe a hair shorter. We're talking fractions of an inch in difference between this and all the other throats, and it doesn't have that funky angle on it. It's pretty much straight up and down. Huge plus. Another key point about this head that needs to be talked about is the twisting feature. I've discussed this feature in pretty much all my face-off head reviews about the twisting motion. Some guys prefer that in their heads. They like keeping their left hand low, and they like it when their opponent drives hard and rotates on them and forces the head to twist and develop a pretty sharp kink here. If I take the 2F and twist it like this, people like this. They like this twisting feature. You can do it with the Dual 2, you can do it with the CEO, you can kind of do it with the Burn FO, you can kind of do it with the Weapon X. Now with the lock, it kind of fights you. It doesn't really want to do it. This back sidewall rail kind of prevents it from wrapping around. The inside dips down nice, but the back just forces it straight and it causes it to collapse down into itself. There's not really a good twisting feature. That's what I'm trying to say here. Just doesn't really twist. So if you like keeping that left hand low and you like a head that twists on you, you're not gonna like this. You're not gonna like it one bit. See what I mean here with the Dual 2? How that folds nice. This back rail right here comes down just like that. This doesn't really want to do it. It would rather just fold in on itself. Doesn't want to twist. Now let's talk about what this head feels like in comparison to other heads on the market. Some of you guys might have picked this up already when I was showing the footage of how this looks when flexed. When you flex it like, oh God, when you flex it like this, both these sidewalls right here, the lower third, they cut down hard. They're pretty much going straight down while this upper portion of the sidewalls is going straight that way, right? That's on both sides. Pretty drastic angles there. Now what that reminded me of and felt like was a CEO. It's not as drastic as a CEO. These two are going straight down while the remaining top half of the head is going straight out. And this again kind of goes back to the point of this not wanting to twist. It would rather just cut straight down like that while you have your left hand pretty high up versus keeping your left hand low and this peeling back. So the lock actually kind of feels like a traditionally flexing CEO. Not a face flexing CEO, but a CEO that's broken in to flex on that traditional angle. I'm not saying it's exactly like a CEO. I'm just saying it feels somewhere in the same ballpark as a CEO with just the whole cutting characteristics of the sidewalls. So the lock didn't just feel like a little bit of the CEO. It kind of felt like a good mixture of different heads. In my eyes, it kind of felt like a combination of the CEO, the Legacy, a hint of the Legacy, and the Dual 2, just the slightest amount. The Dual 2 also used to have this characteristic where this side pinches in while the back side stays wide. So yeah, this thing just feels like a weird combination of different heads, but the common theme there is they all flex on a traditional angle. Overall, I was really impressed with this head. I liked this whole cutting feature that it had. I wasn't expecting this at all. I honestly had no idea how this was gonna flex. The only downside about this head, I would have to say, is the warping. I think that's gonna conclude this review on the Maverik lock. Again, huge thanks to Maverik and Billy Bitter for hooking me up with one of these bad boys. And before I forget, and before everyone bombards me with the question, will I be adding this to my gear bag? Yes. Short answer, yes. I will be doing a future video on a future gear bag video once I clear out some space for this to fit in there. My gear bag can only be so big and I can't have freaking 100 sticks in it. And stay tuned for my future videos with this. I got a stringing tutorial to do, and I also have some GoPro videos to catch up on. And this has to be added into the mix. So this versus all the other heads on the market. Not looking forward to it. It's gonna freaking suck, but oh well. Maverik lock review is done. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comment section. That's it. Talk to you later. See ya.